Cause they thought I'd never make it. See me fall down and they celebrated. Learn how to win with no demonstration. How about the cool got a ventilated? Cause I can't see shit out on 95. Prolific little bitch, I see dollar signs. The shit I done seen got me traumatized. Tryna clear all the pain in my mama's eyes. And my daughter, she watching me closely. Tryna better myself like I should be. Had to chill out with all of that street shit. I came a long way, but don't push me. Rest in peace to my bro, it ain't right, dawg. 20 bands, nothing that's light sauce. Hit the booth and I turn all the lights off. Gotta get in my zone. Gotta turn on my phone, cause all them smiles is fake and I see it. Bad guy, if I got it, I'll be it. Baptized, but I'm living with demons. Trap vibes, so I'm cashing out Neiman's. No face, swear these bitches is heathens, but I don't need them though. Keep my moves quiet, you don't need them.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, as always, to the Prolific Podcast, episode number 7, with yours truly, as always, Berto.
With the kid, Ill Will.
Ill Willie. He's officially going with Ill Will.
Self-proclaimed. Doesn't really count.
Has no meaning behind it, ladies and gentlemen. But
there's no foundation there.
Welcome to episode number 7. As always, like, subscribe.
Oh, you always have to say it. You have to
always. You got to remind it.
But it's always the like,
little,
subscribe.
The little like, subscribe. You know, make sure you follow the vibes, guys. Always, you know what we do. You know what we're doing.
And there's another thing, too, I wanted to add to like the intro, too. If you find any value, if you laughed, comment. Let us know. Let us know what you think we should be doing more. Better.
Let us know
worse.
what you like.
Nothing wrong with constructive criticism. I've been having conversations lately, just kind of putting out there what are some things that we could, better. What things that people like. What things that people don't like. Just to kind of start learning how to mold and just kind of get better as we go. Yeah. So let us know how you feel, and if you're a hater, still let us know. And that's perfectly fine. We
love the haters, man. The haters are what makes us get it better. You know what I mean?
We love you all.
We love all people. Yeah. This is Prolific. We do everything with abundance.
Love and light.
But we got a special one today, guys. As always, as we're growing, of course, we're always going to have guests and we're always going to have people come on and, give us content, give us some great stories. But we also want to take a step back like Will did last episode. You guys will be seeing that pretty soon. And just tapping into us, bringing it back to the roots, bringing it back to the basics where we started 2 years ago. And just tapping into a little bit more about each other. On the hot seat today is Big Willie, a.k.a. Ill Will.
A.k.a. Go fuck yourself.
A.k.a. He's about to talk a lot today, but you know what? I'm going to make him talk.
What you mean I'm going to talk a lot today?
Nah, I mean, like, you're going to talk a lot. Like, you're going to actually talk some good shit today, because a lot of the times you're talking shit.
Nah.
So anyways, 50-50. Today's episode is brought to you by, we took our traditional shot earlier.
Yeah, we did our traditional, excuse me, sorry. I got a frog in my throat. We took our traditional shot, the green tea shot. Shout out to Jameson. Still love you. Still love you.
Still waiting for that.
We still love you, no matter what. But we did that, and then today we have our Mama Juana. Today's episode is sponsored by Mama Juana, straight from the motherland. That thing's been brewing since 2018 or 2019.
Oh, that's been ready. What you waiting for?
I'm not waiting for anything. It's just been brewing. The longer, the better.
Yeah, but that shit, anything after 3 months is good to go.
Yeah, it's already been cured and everything.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, what are you waiting for?
So do you want me to drink the whole thing? That it always has to be full.
I mean, if your girl's ready for that, that splat,
dog,
drink it up tonight. Let me just let you guys know. God. All right, before Viagra.
My boy straight from the
Viagra.
Sound like a hick.
So, if you guys need any type of help in the bedroom, all right, before Hims, before Viagra, before those pills you buy in the gas station.
Yeah, don't do the ground. No.
You don't need to do any of that Rampage and all that shit.
My boy knows the brand.
Go to. Stop acting like you didn't buy that shit when you were younger. Just cop some Mama Juana. That shit will your girl, your chick, or whatever, your dude, whatever. We don't judge. Yeah. They're gonna love you for the night.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
You're gonna go all night long, papi. Yeah. All night long.
Yeah, that shit's no joke.
But anyways, so today's episode is catered to Willie. We want to get you guys to know Willie a little bit more. If you guys know Willie, you guys know Will from previous seasons, but he was more laid back before. So he got me last time. We're gonna just tap into a little bit of him from before, present, where he wants to go in the future, and all that. So let's get into it.
Oh God.
Now I'm up. Nah, but all jokes aside, one thing that we've talked about and I admire is as we get older is relationships, right? In general, you have a very strong relationship with your parents. They've been separated for years, but you have an individual relationship with them each separately, right? So that's one thing that I admire. And one thing that I realized, knowing that I met your mom not too long ago. Shout out to mommy.
She says hi.
Shout out to mom. Yo, that's my dog. She be on IG. She be like, oh my God, that's so true to my story. I'm like, oh my God, mom, I love you.
She was like, oh, tell Berto I said hi. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's my dog. But it's dope to have a relationship when we get to, where we are in our 30s. We tapped a little bit into mine last time. Unfortunately, I don't have those relationships. It is what it is. Yeah. It's cool. But you do. So, again, just tapping into that and just going back to a little bit of your early childhood. Both of your parents were present, even though they were separated. What would you say, I'm not going to get into detail. I already see you over there.
I mean.
No, I know, but I'm not going to get into detail.
Yeah.
Because, I don't want to tap into that unless you want to. But, again, just meeting your mom and putting a face, to the voice and to the background stories and all that. Like, what would you say is something that just really inspired you that you take from your mom as an adult now? Like, what's something that you admire by your mother, because you guys are still close as adults, and after meeting her, I see she loves her sons. You and Dre. Shout out to TK Dre, by the way. He's the one on our intro. He's the one that did our song. I don't know if you guys noticed, but our intro song is Will's brother. So make sure you guys also check him out. He's a up and coming artist.
Eastside TK. Connecticut
Providence area. So tap in, tri-state area. But yeah, I mean, again, just going back to your moms, a little bit about your moms. Like, what kind of led you guys to the relationship you have now that you would say you admire about her, besides the typical, moms being strong and things like that? What's something that kind of like just hit you that now you're like, wow, like my mom is my nigga, and I'm bringing her. He brought her to our New Year's Eve party. You know what I mean? Like that. A lot of people don't party and go out with their parents like that. So how do you guys have that relationship, and what is it that you admire about her like that you're able to bring that?
I mean, I brought her to the party. Obviously, I don't get to see her that often. She lives up north. So, I had flown her out and, just wanted to spend some time with her because I couldn't spend time with her for Christmas. But as far as admiration wise, there's a lot, man. Like my mom is always, you said to kind of stay away from the strong and stuff like that. My past, to have a woman like that's been through a lot of shit that a lot of people wouldn't even probably believe, if I were to go into that, and still lead with love with everybody. Like,
let's make them believe, if you don't mind tapping into that. When we say certain things, I feel like people still don't get the picture because we kind of tap on it. Is there anything on the top of your head that you're okay with sharing that defines the reason why you say, after her being through so much, she's still loved and she's still the best person that she is?
Yeah. Not into detail, but as far as, my mom has had a pretty rough past. She's been, she's been attacked and something has happened to her that, a lot of people don't, they don't know, obviously. And it's like, it's some shit that straight out of a movie type of thing. But, she's overcome that. And she, like I said, she just loves everyone, no matter how dirty they do them. And I've always admired that because I've, how I am. It's like, if you kind of do me dirty, then it's kind of like we're done. Like, we're just, no hate, no nothing. I'm not going to.
There's just no room for fool me once, fool me twice. None.
Yeah, like, everyone fucks up, you know what I mean? But it's like, if you do me dirty on a certain level, it's kind of like, I don't need to associate with you. It's not no beef shit. We're not going to fight. We're not going to, it's not no murder beef or anything like that. But I'm just going to go this way. And, best of luck to you. But, deuces. She's always been like, she doesn't care. Like if you do her dirty, she's just like, she still loves you and she still shows love and still supports everybody. And I've always just been like, as a son that had to grow up quickly and at a very young age, I had to be the man of the house at 7 years old. I've always, it's my duty to protect her. And that's one of the challenges I've always had with her is her, kind of allowing others to kind of like walk all over her and her just be cool with it because she's like, that's fine. I still love them. And
now let me ask you though, do you think that being that she is obviously older, as you get older, you start to kind of fall back from a lot of things because you also don't want to work yourself up? Do you think that she's always been very like kind of passive, or is it something where like you feel like now she's just like, look, it's not like nothing's ever that serious to her? Like, let's just let it go because it's nothing that, you know what I mean? Like you start appreciating life a little bit more when you're older. So do you think, is that what it is? Or she's just always been like,
I feel like she's always been like that from what I can remember. I mean, my memory's always been really bad. And, I have my own, reason for that, as far as memory goes, but I think that she's always been like that.
what's the reason for that?
As memory wise, I mean, there's it's just kind of like studies, stuff like that have been done that, if you go through a traumatic childhood, it's almost like your brain wants to forget that stuff because it's hurtful, you know what I mean, and it's painful to you. So you kind of grow up with a limited memory in the sense of just your subconscious trying to protect you from trying to relive shit and stuff like that. So I've always had a really bad memory because there's certain things I just like I can kind of remember, but
You choose to forget.
Huh?
You choose to forget.
Yeah, I mean not consciously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that I would like to remember just to kind of see, why or maybe why I'm this way or why I think that way. But it's always just been, that's how I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, I mean, it doesn't have to make sense. I mean, like I said, this is the point of us doing this, is really to tap into, we're always going to have guests over. We're always going to tap into other people's stories. But besides our story, there's a lot more to why this is this. You know what I mean? And that's what we want to kind of accomplish, So I want to kind of skip over to your pops, shout out to Patron. Again, strong relationship. As you get older, something that, again, I just admire, you know what I mean? Because, the situation with myself and my father. So, one of the things that I know about fathers in general, a man is going to be a man, especially when he has a son, right? It's always going to be like, no, like, you got to do this because that's what I said. They never kind of sit and be like, but why you want me to do this? You know what I mean? Like, as a father, as a Dominican father, as a Hispanic father, a lot of times I noticed that whenever my father told me to do something, there was no explanation. It's just like, just do it because dad said, right? Can you recall a time where your pops told you to do something? And it could be any time. It could be recent. It could be when you were 5, 6, 10. It doesn't matter. But can you recall a time where your father told you to do something? You didn't know why. You did it, obviously, because if not, we'll get our ass beat. But as an adult now, you realize, okay, like, it kind of hit you like, oh, okay, he was preparing me for this, or he was kind of trying to put me on a game on this, but he didn't explain it at the time. Anything that stands out where it's like, yo, you know what, like, at the end of the day, we know our parents raised us well. Everything can always be worse. Yeah, but again, your pops is in your life, and I know from a Dominican to another Dominican, I know the style of Dominican parenting, especially with dads.
Yeah, I mean, when you said that, there's only two things that, not only, but there's a lot, but the two things that kind of popped out to my head was, I know my dad wanted me always to play the piano for some reason. Like, he just always told me, like, you should play the piano, and I was always just like, I don't know, like,
Daddy, that's gay.
No, I mean, it's just like, what the, like, I don't get it. Now, I wish I did. Like, he used to, and it's crazy because, like, when we used to visit him, I remember he had, like, taken a book and gifted it to me, which is not allowed, but somehow gifted me this book to learn how to play the piano. And I remember I was just like, I don't want to do that, like, but, like, he would always be adamant, like, you need to start studying that shit. But the only other thing that I could think of is playing baseball. You know, that was something that I never played. You know, I grew up playing basketball, football.
Barely.
We'll see. We'll see on your birthday. But yeah, I always grew up playing other sports, and when he got out and everything like that, he had made some connections and put me onto some guy and was like, "Why haven't you never played baseball?" And I was just like, "I don't know, just never did." And he tried to when he was in, but I mean, I'm out, he's in, you know, whatever. Mm-hmm. And he had set everything up, and I think I've told you before, I did like a few practices with some guy, and then before you know it, like a week later, I had dropped out of college and moved to Dominican Republic to play baseball. And at that moment, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Like, I'm on a flight to a fucking third world country. Like, I'm 17 years old. Like, I don't know shit about this, like, as far as, like, Dominican streets. That's two different streets. You know, so I'm like, I don't even really speak Spanish like that at that point. Spanish was my first language, but then when I learned English, I forgot Spanish. So I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? But I am who I am today because of that trip. Mm-hmm. Like the 3 years or so that I spent in Dominican Republic molded me into exactly who I am today. And if I didn't, I don't know where the fuck I would be. Like, mentally, I don't know who I would be right now.
Now, it's funny because you jumped. This is how in sync we are.
Because I know you, dog.
You don't know me that well. Like, that was a question for later on. But I was gonna ask you because this shit is a full batería. Whatever.
Whatever. Screw it.
You know, if I recall correctly, you were 17, right, when you moved to DR. Mm-hmm. What was going on through your head? Because I know at 17, for one, it was junior year of high school. And that's kind of like when you start feeling like your life is starting, right? Like you're starting to go to high school parties. You got a little hair in your chest. You know what I'm saying? Might have a little height. You got up and left the United States of America. Yeah. Now, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Like, yes, we're Dominican, but it's very different. Like, growing up in a Dominican household in the U.S. and living in Dominican Republic with Dominicans. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's a dog-eat-dog world. Dominican Republic is beautiful. I'll never knock our country. Yeah. But it's completely different from being in the States. We could be in the worst hoods in the U.S. It's probably still not as worse as DR, just for the simple fact of, like, the luxuries that we have. Like, the lights are never off unless it's cut off because we can't pay it. So, the
water. Yeah,
so, like, you, again, there's no siblings. Like, you didn't say, yo, me and my brother are going to go. Like, it's different. It's a little comfort level. Like, what the fuck went on through your head at 17 that you were like, oh, I'm going to do this, and you actually did it, and you stuck through it for the 3 years?
Honestly, I was just listening to my dad. I was just like, it was almost like if I didn't, then I'm like, it was almost like you'd be stupid not to do it. You know
because that's your dad. Like,
and not only that, it was just like, you're gonna let this talent go to waste. You know, all this other shit. My height. You know, I'm left-handed. All this other stuff, which, you know, whatever. But it was just me. Honestly, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Like, I did everything. I dropped out of college. I was going to college I wanted to become a forensic scientist at that time. I was like infatuated with that shit, and I dropped out, and a week later I'm on a plane, and it was just like, there was no thought process. It was just like, okay, I have to go to Dominican Republic now. Yeah. Like, nothing. I swear to God, like, it happened all in 1 week. Like, I had everything done. Like, I was out of everything, fucking hopped on a flight and packed all my shit and moved to Dominican Republic. Like, there was no, let's plan, let's do this. It was just like, you're going to Dominican Republic, and that's it. And I just went.
Now, I know, like, growing up, like I told you before, I know I still I had a couple of different role models, right? But as a son, I feel like 8 out of 10 kids always kind of low-key want to be like their father, right? Like, in some way, some sense, right? Like, my father would go play softball with the guys, and I'll go to his games, be with him, whatever. But I'll be, like, in the outside playing softball, right? Like, because I'm like, oh, when I get old enough, I want to just play softball just like my dad.
In Pembroke Pines.
Yeah, like Piccolo Park. You know what I'm saying? Like, so with that being said, is there anybody that you actually tried to, like, just emulate growing up? Like, I'm not going to say who your role models. I want to see, like, in your head, when it comes to, like, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you act, the way you, like, everything, right? is there somebody, because in my head when I was younger, like my father would click in my head, so I would try to respond like my father would, because my father was like funny and like the jokester in the group, you know what I mean? Like, so like, is there anybody that you could think of the top of your head that you actually, I'm not gonna say wanted to be like, but as a kid, you know, in your early teens, you kind of like just try to emulate it.
And it's not gonna be. It's funny because like growing up, my pops was obviously. It's funny because one day I would like for you to go to Province and kind of see how it is there, in the sense of just like how much impact he has, just who he is. You know, everyone knew him. Everyone knows him. You know what I mean? Like everyone knows him. So it's like that part. And, you know, at that age, I wasn't thinking about business or nothing like that. I was too young. But so just going off of like my teen years, I had a really good friend at the time. I'm not going to say his name, but he's the one that we talked about, I think, on the show with Marvel, that put me onto like porn and stuff like that. Like I was just an innocent kid, in the sense that I was just always home taking care of the house, because like my mom was working and shit like that. So I had to hold the house down. So I really wasn't like trying to be out like that, because I had responsibilities, like what I felt were going to be were supposed to be my responsibilities. But he was just like, at that time, like Maximas were in, like Nissan Maximas were in. He had a Nissan Max, you know, with the LED lights and shit like that. He used to bag.
I remember those LED lights, yo. Those shits were popping. Like when they came out, yeah.
That, like, he just had like mad chicks. I met him in 5th grade, and I remember I had like some Pokemon card. He saw it. He was like, "Yo, you want to trade?" You know, we started trading Pokemon cards, and then we like one day he's like, "Yo, let's hang out at my house, whatever, play PlayStation or some shit or whatever the fuck it was." And then from there, we just, you know, came to the point where like I would just tell people he was my cousin. And just,
he was how old? How much older than you?
He was the same age. We were in the same grade. But he was someone that I looked up to, because he taught me everything about women. He taught me everything just about style, about just being a man, pretty much everything. He was just like one of those kids in 6th grade that were like more advanced, that had like a little mustache and shit like that. Like, you know, it was just
full-blown beard at 12 years old.
Nah, he didn't have the beard. He had like a little peach fuzz and shit, but he was just, as far as like, I was just like, damn, like he just gets like so many girls. And
yeah, like he's that nigga.
He was just like, it was almost like Bill Bellamy type shit.
Yeah,
like, so I was just like, okay, what can I learn from him? But it was just like, we were friends, and I just kind of like started learning from him and implementing the shit that he would do. And then before you know it, your boy was a savage.
Savage, ruthless. What is it?
Classy, bougie, ratchet.
Nah, it's funny, man, because I had a boy like that too. His name was Dennis. He grew up in the building next to mine. It was like a small building, and he was my sister's age. So like he was like the older cat, but he was like, you know, the cool dude. He always had like the fresh kicks first.
Always.
He was like affiliated. You know what I mean? So like, when I go around him, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm clicked up. Like they're gonna think I'm rolling with them. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, what's up, nigga? Latin Bad Boys. That's one of them that he was in. It's called LBB, Latin Bad Boys. And I'm like, yeah, nigga, I'm like, I did that once, and they're like, oh, you in it? I was like, nah. Like I'm good.
Latin BB is like the reverse BBL.
Oh shit, you're right.
Yikes.
But just so transitioning, fast forwarding, right, to kind of like, that was part of your early childhood, and that was part of like the college years, right? Which is kind of where we really start growing up, if you think about it. Like as men, like, yeah, I started growing up, quote unquote, at 12, because when my parents split, but I wasn't really like in control.
What do you mean by in control, though?
Like I wasn't really in control of what the hell it meant to be a man. Like at 12, like I said, I wasn't even going through puberty at 12. So like at 12 years old, my parents split, like I mentioned before. It was like, okay, I don't have like another male figure in my house. So I got to just start trying to figure out like what everything means. Like if somebody's looking at me crazy, what does it mean? What do I have to do? Like, do I have to go up and start beef with, like, you know what I mean? Like just everything in life, like that we're supposed to learn as men from another man, right? But going into your college years, you know, early 20s, I know you also started like a spiritual kind of like journey, right? Like, what would you say like kind of led you to that? Because that's something that a lot of people never come across. And I think as human beings, I feel like everybody should have some type of spiritual journey. You know what I mean? So like you started yours a little earlier than most. Yeah. So
it's funny because it all started with a book, as weird as that sounds, but I used to have a really bad anger problem just because off my life, you know what I mean? my past and everything like that, I really had a very, very bad anger issue. And you know, you go into my room and there's holes all over the wall. You know what I mean? Like I'm punching holes in the wall. I'm lashing out. You know, I just had a very, very bad temper. And I had a baseball coach that sat me down and would just talk to me. He was like one of the first people that just sat down and didn't judge what I was saying. He would just talk to me and just listen to what I'm saying. And then just be like, oh, well, you know, what do you think about this? And then kind of like guide me in a way, like without, he's not like, you need to be doing, you know, or you need to stop the shit or whatever.
He had the approach of more of like a therapist, just listening to you.
He was literally like my first therapist. I mean, I had therapists when I was a kid, just off of everything else. But as far as like someone that I noticed change with, like he changed me, like plain and simple, he changed me.
Before you knew what?
Before I knew what the fuck, what this, you know, I was just like, I didn't know I had an issue. I just knew that if something happened, I'm lashing the fuck out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was just me feeling like bad for myself because of my past and, you know, my situation or our situation, shit that we had to do that was embarrassing. And it was just, the universe put him in my life at the perfect time. Because had he didn't, I'd probably be on some felon shit right now, or I don't know where I would be. I'd probably be like stupid crazy right now. And he, you know, he guided me. He talked to me. He just would tell me certain things and how I need to look at things. And at that same moment, I had a cousin that put me onto The Alchemist, which is a book by Paulo Coelho, which if you've never read it, highly, 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 highly recommend it. And that book changed my entire life.
Would you say that changed the way you think? Or would you say that book changed the way you see things?
Everything. That just changed me. Like my identity in the sense of how I perceive things was just stripped. You know, the book, it talks about obviously like it's a shepherd, you know what I mean? And the main part of the book that I remembered, like when I read it, I was like, damn, I need to change. And it was a story of a shepherd that his prized sheep had just dropped and died on like a voyage. And he was just cursing himself, like, why me? Like, why is my life? Like, why do I have all these bad things happen to me? And what he didn't know was that there was a gang of thieves waiting for him, you know, down the road that were going to kill him and steal his sheep. So the way the story, you know, the whole moral of the story is that everything is happening for a reason. And that sheep had to die to save you from getting murdered and having all your sheep taken away. And when I read that, I was like, okay, so all this fucked up shit that's happened to me is for a reason, and I need to learn something from this shit.
Yeah.
And I just started reflecting on all the shit from my past and, okay, this is why this maybe happened. Maybe, you know, I need to think about this, see things this way, and just be thankful because statistically with all the shit that's happened, I should be a lot more fucked up than I am right now, and I'm not. Yeah. So that book, when I read that, and I've read it to this day like 5-6 times.
To this day?
To this day. But that was a very, very true turning point in my life was after I read that book. And since then, thank God, I've changed 1,000%. And it was between having those conversations with that coach. Paredes was his name. Shout out to Paredes. Probably not seeing this. He's somewhere in Dominican Republic right now. But he helped me out a lot, and then that book came right when it needs to be when it needed to come. It was just presented to me at the right time.
What year was that? Well, how old are you?
I was probably like.
You were in DR, so it was between 17 and 18.
No, I was here. It was in Providence.
But before or after DR?
After DR.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was probably like 19.
Okay.
18, like late 18, 19, something like that.
You see, what I like about books like that, because a lot of people are very like, oh, I don't read self-help books because of, you know, they all sound alike. I don't agree with it. Yeah. Because I feel like I can read a whole, like right now I'm reading Atomic Habits. I'm actually reading it, which is crazy.
My boy, hold on, let me hit you with the.
You know what I'm saying?
My boy reading 2023.
2023, we different.
Let me find out.
12 books. I'm in Atomic Habits. I got an accountability partner. Shout out to Amanda. Got an
So all this time I've been on your ass about reading. Now you find it accountable.
Now because it's funny. She posted the same book and she wrote a little caption.
Cool.
Yeah, she wrote a little caption. She said, "I need somebody to hold me accountable. I really want to read X amount of books this year." And I was like, "Yo, I've had the same book, Catching Dust, since 2020." So whatever. Anyways, going back.
Just so y'all know, I've been trying to get this dude to read since what?
2020.
2020. We'll say 20.
Yeah.
So we're talking 3 years now. But all right, cool.
Not 3 years. It's 2 years because this is the third year. The third year is not complete yet. So they're trying to play me because I know math. It's 2 years.
All right, cool.
Thank you. Anyways, going back to my story. But what I like about those type of books is that, yes, a lot of them might sound the same because anybody can write a book nowadays. But in all these different books, all you really need is one takeaway.
It's all about the way someone articulates something. So the way I say something, the way you say something, the way Gabe says something, maybe I'm telling you something 50 times, like read a fucking book. And then it just takes that one person, aka Amanda, to be like, oh, you should read this book. Or they articulate it to you a certain way, and you need that person to tell you that way.
Yeah.
And that's what changes everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's true. There's a lot of fluff out there, there's a lot of bullshit with self-help. But there are good books that maybe you just need to hear the way that author articulates that message. And the way that they did is what fucking makes the impact.
Yeah.
Opposed to the 20 other authors that are fucking saying the same shit.
Facts.
Oh, big facts.
Big facts. Nah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like, because you've told me 1,000 times about The Alchemist. And I'm like, yo, like, I have 1,000 other books that I want to read first. So just put on the list. Put on the list. But yeah, man, I mean, I feel like, look, that just, what you took away from that was basically like, not everything that happens it's bad. If something is happening is because it's, for one, either preparing you for something that's in the future or it's saving you from something that was supposed to be. Like, for example, I'll give you Sunday. I took the kids to, it was a nice ass day here, whatever. Took the kids to Joe's Pizza. I'm like, yo, let's go grab some pizza. Let's get out the house, right? Get out the house. This has never happened to me before. So I'm on the highway, actually passing right by here. I'm on the highway. There's some shit on the floor. And I kind of peeped it, but it was like, there's always shit on the floor in Miami, like in the highways. It didn't look like something solid where it was heavy because it was kind of like bouncing up and down. So I'm like, this is a plastic bag, whatever. Boom, boom, boom. I kind of like, I'm getting closer and closer and closer. Next thing you know, it's like it catches my back right tire. Shit flats my tire in the middle of the day.
What?
And I have run flats. So I'm like, and then one of my daughters is in the back and I see it because like, when you're like, oh, what is that? What is that? But then it's like when you're right there, you're not going to swerve and run into the wall. So I kind of like jerked a little bit, pause, and it goes, and I always got my music and 500 mil. So my daughter was like, oh, I heard like a little pop. And instantly my car, red lights start going on. They're like, yo, check right tire or check right. I'm like, I'm on the highway. If there's anywhere to get a flat, it's not the highway. Because niggas are going 100 miles an hour. Whatever, fast forward. So I get off on 95. Like, I have to get on 95, like on the shoulder. And my shit is flat. Again, it has a run flat. So run flats give you like 50 miles where it doesn't really go completely flat. But there's a big ass hole. There's a hole in my tire. So it must have been like a cardboard or something with nails in it. So whatever, I go to the side. But just going back to my story and going back to the point of that, I don't know if I was supposed to be on time to Joe's, what would have, like if something was supposed to happen in Joe's. So like, it's 2:00 in the afternoon, it's broad daylight. I'm like, yo, I got AAA, I got all this shit. Like, it's my day off. I'm with my kids. Like, yo, my kids are good. All right.
That's all
Google
that matters.
tire shop. Where's the nearest tire shop? There was one in Wynwood. I pulled up, got a used tire, whatever for now. Run flat too, but got a used tire. He's like, yeah, your tire's done, bro. But think about it, like that shit hurts me because I'm like, yo, my tires are brand new, but I have a big ass hole, and here I got to buy a $300 used tire because my car is not, like I can't wear fucking Michelin tires. Yeah. But what I would have done 6-7 years ago when I was frustrated, broke, I would have been like, oh my God, what the fuck is this? And now this, why God? Now I'm just like, yo, we're in a position where like this happened because maybe. Maybe we're getting ahead of something, or maybe we're going to be somewhere that we weren't supposed to be at the time. You know what I mean?
Or avoid an accident or some shit like that.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, that I'm gonna read the book. I promise you. I'm gonna put it on my to do list.
2023.
Yeah, 2023. I'll throw it in the mix. Cool. But let's fast forward to present, man. I mean, again, I know we can tap into so many different things. You've been on a spiritual journey. We've been on our childhood journey, right? The spiritual journey, the college journey. There's been a lot of different phases in our lives. If we fast forward to today, if I'm not mistaken, you're in a better position, steady job. I feel like you filtered out people that just, don't belong, because you've met a lot of people in the nightlife scene, before you got the corporate job, in a relationship. Shout out to Delo Mio. I'm not gonna throw out names, but yeah. She knows who she is, cool people. So, just where you're at now, how would you feel like everything that you've kind of gone through? All right, let me word it this way. A lot of times our past haunts us, right? And our past could be something that you're still dealing with, or from past childhood trauma. Has there been anything that that you've worked on to better for yourself, right? And I can give you an example. I'll give you an example of mine. But has there been anything that that you've been working, something that has to do with you, whether it's something, us men are stubborn. We're prideful. We're stubborn. We're always right type of shit, a lot of times. Would you say that, have you had anything where you feel like no matter how hard you try to kind of correct it and do better at it, because it's something that's personal to you, it like just comes back sometimes and it's like you're tested for that specific thing? Is there anything that you feel, and this can go a variety of different directions. It could be something with work. It could be something.
I would say with the whole communication, I've always been the kind of person that if I feel like you're not trying to hear, or, that you've done me a certain type of way or something like that, I just cave in. Like, I don't say nothing. I just stay quiet.
Shut down. You shut down.
I just shut down. That's the word I was looking for.
So that's like a constant battle that you're trying to get better at, but sometimes it still just comes back. And it could be like, it could be a friend. It could be your girl. It could be a coworker. It could be like, yo, stop, stop.
Yeah. So I mean, like that's, and it there's still times I've gotten a lot better at it, like from what I was before. And, as far as just shutting down, but it's sometimes it takes the right person to communicate with you, you know what I mean? So that you don't do it. You know what I mean? You don't need to do it. I feel like a lot of the times it's when someone's not giving you the safe space to actually communicate, or they're not trying to even hear what you're trying to say. They're just listening to what you're saying so that they can respond.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Or you can just say what you got to say so you can shut up after that. Like, hurry up and say whatever you're going to say.
Exactly. So I can respond back.
Yeah.
That's always been my biggest thing as far as holding grudges. That they kind of coincide. Like, I've always held grudges. Like, if you did me dirty, and we've talked about this as far as loyalty, like, if I'm down for you, like, there's nothing that I won't do. You know what I mean? Like, as far as protect you or whatever the fuck I need to do. So if I feel like you've done me a certain type of way, or you've went back on that, we're done.
Yeah.
No,
like, it's fuck you. You're dead to me, and you're dead to me for life.
We're done.
Shit. Yeah. I feel like that's something that we have to, just as human beings, we have to do. Again, I've always preached about this, just to kind of protect our energy, because there is a lot of times where you genuinely want to get better at something, and people just test your patience. You know what I mean? They don't know what you got going on. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's one of those things where you're like, do I entertain this and fuck up my growth?
Yeah.
Or because like this, man, there's times where it's just like, it's just so easy to go back to this and just put you straight. You know what I mean? So like, how do you kind of hold yourself back from that when you're trying to get past that?
I just know that I know there's so much more in store for me right now. So it's like, I can't even.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. It's just like my success is gonna show you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That you fucked up and you shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? So.
Facts. Now, I know I tapped into the us as men being prideful and stuff like that. I know I have my flaws. I'm sure you know your flaws, or if you don't know, you know that you have flaws, but you don't know which ones they are specifically. One question I have is man to man, right? I know I'm pretty good at the things that I say because I always act based on what I've collected. You know what I mean? That's kind of like data and proof before I kind of act and react. Put it that way. When knowing the stuff that you know about yourself and your character and your personality, right? When would you say is the last time that you genuinely apologize for something that you know you were wrong about, but you were too stubborn before to apologize? Because I know that's hard for a man to do. For us men, it's ladies, it's hard for us to apologize. But as men, women have to understand that as men, there's a lot of things that go into play, in a man's head. You know, there's a lot of things that we express. There's a lot of things that we talk about that genuinely concern us, but it's not like the sit down, hey, we need to have a conversation. Like, man, I don't know about you, but I think for the majority of us, we don't lash out. We say things when it's on our mind and we kind of just put it out there to put it out there. We're not the type to be like, hey, listen, you know, we have to talk tonight. No, like, it's like, if some shit bothers us, we're going to say it right then and there. And you do whatever you want to do with that information. But I'm letting you know how I feel, right? So, for example, like in my case, I'm not saying that I'm very like, I never say sorry. But if I do, it's because, like, you know, it took me some time to be like, all right, I get what you're saying. And you're right, I was wrong. But even doing that, just saying that, I know it's like, I don't want to. You know what I mean?
Honestly, dude, I've never
been wrong.
That's
false. That's false.
I'm never wrong. Honestly, I don't think I've ever really had a problem with saying sorry.
You've never told me you're sorry. Just putting it out there.
There's nothing to be sorry about. Yeah, I mean,
there's nothing you can recall that you're like, damn, you know.
No. I mean,
and I don't mean like, oh, my bad.
Times.
Like, my bad is like,
yeah.
You know what I mean, like something where you're like, fuck, like, yo, you know what? Like, you're 1,000% like, I'm wrong. I am sorry. Like, those specific words. Like, I'm wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, just the other night.
Oh, what happened?
Let's dive deep.
So, can I get another?
Bartender? Yeah, just the other day, there was something that I had reacted to off of a reaction that I got. So it was kind of like a double, you know what I mean? It was like the clash, you know what I mean? And it was nothing that was even that serious. It was just I found myself like
voice cracking. Let it out, big one. Okay.
No,
I got a shoulder for you, bro. It's all right. It's prolific. I got you, brother.
We good. It was just it was something that it was just a misunderstanding as far as what was going on. And I think it was just I reacted because it sounded something it seemed like something similar to a past relationship that I had. But it wasn't that.
Yeah.
But it seemed like that, so it got me to like
to almost get you triggered.
Yeah, so I was just like, oh, like fuck that.
Yeah.
Like it's not happening.
Defense goes up, yeah.
But it wasn't that. So it was just me like reacting too quickly, and then I was like, all right, wait, I'm tripping because this is not even that. And you know, had the conversation and it was cool.
Yeah.
But I had to be like, yo, like
you had to own up to it.
My bad, because I jumped up real quick. And I think it was just like me having like a zero tolerance policy when it comes to like shit that I've dealt with in the past. And I think that's why I just kind of reacted that way.
Yeah. Which
so
makes
just
sense.
the other day, we're talking about like 24 hours, 48 hours.
Yeah. Just the other day, like this morning. Like she just left.
Yeah. she's waiting for me outside.
We still gotta talk.
Dead ass.
Now we're gonna I wanna leave everything on a positive note, but I do have one more question.
Shoot.
And this might be a little deep because I gave you this question, I tried to answer myself.
For me? You tried to for me.
I tried to answer it for you.
I'll touch it for me.
Nah, but again, it's just like, you know, the audience needs to hear these type of things. It's always going to be jokes. It's always going to be, you know, questions. But like when we have these conversations, like we're taking this back to 2020 and the office, you know, the quarantine. Like I feel like a lot of times I don't want our viewers to think that we're just saying things to make it sound good, right? So one question I had for you was, in life, and it can be more present than anything now because you're a lot more aware as an adult. But do you ever think that you can honestly admit, or have you ever felt alone?
Most of my life.
And again, like I asked that not only because as men will never admit that, but I'm talking about
my boy the mama
this fucking gum dry as hell. I'm talking about like I was thinking about your story, right? Obviously how we met and all this stuff and just your story. Like I've only known the Will in Miami for the last 5 years, right? I've known about your past because you told me, but I've physically known Will the last 5 years. But I know as a man, even where I'm at in my life, right? Like I'm surrounded by family and friends. Like honestly, I probably have the most amount of friends that I know in my friend group. Like to now on some cocky shit, like just like some real shit. Like I'm surrounded by a lot of people. I can do so if I wanna. If I'm free, I can just hit up somebody right now from high school, from whatever, like, and just be like, yo, let's kick it, let's go grab a drink, right? But I also noticed when I was younger, I developed those relationships because going out was my escape from the shit that was going home. So I was dying to go home, get dressed, and get the fuck out, right? That made me feel alone because the street ain't nothing in the streets. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, nothing in the streets is just distractions. So that's why I thought about this question, because I'm like, I have felt alone before. And there's times to this present day that I feel alone, and not necessarily physically, because obviously, like, you know, I have my kids, I have my girl, like, it's not physically, but sometimes I'm like, damn, like, as a man, there's sometimes that I just don't feel like talking to people, because some people, the loved ones, the close friends, they just don't get me. Like, they just don't get it, right? Would you say that where you're at now, or if in the past, like, do you ever feel alone?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you know the situation I went through.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? So
And still fuck that other side. You're I keep the energy, bro. Loyalty is loyalty. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care.
But I mean, to an extent, you know, there was a lot of things that, like, obviously I didn't tell you or anything like that. But at that point, you know, you're in a place where you don't know anybody. You know what I mean? Like, nobody.
Yeah.
Like, there's no family. So it's like, there's no, let me go kick it at the bar and let me, like, unwind or vent to the homies or whatever. So it's like that, and then also being in the financial situation I was in, that's like stupid alone. So not only can I not go to afford to even go out, I'm just in the house. You know what I mean? And that's just one time. I mean, this has happened to me plenty of times in my life where it's just, but I've always loved my solitude. So it's kind of like a blessing and a curse. Like, I really enjoy being by myself because it's just how I've been. And I've been like that since I was a kid. And I had a talk with my mom when she was here about that. And she's just like, you just always been like that.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of it I know has to do with just my past and shit like that. And just, I need to be by myself because I need to process all this shit on my own because I never really had, you know, someone to kind of guide me in the sense of, like, you know, I never had no one to fall back to. Like that 50 Cent video, I think someone you posted, I saw it before, but, you know, who was I going to go to? Nobody. I had to go to myself. So as far as alone, like I said, it's a blessing and a curse. I do love my solitude, and I have felt it to the fucking core where I'm like, dog, I got nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, obviously I have my parents and shit like that, but I'm not going to be calling and like, yo, come help me or come out here. And like, I'm just like, I've always been like, I'm alone, but I'm going to fucking, if my back's to the wall, you're seeing a fucking demon come out. Like a fucking complete demon. So, and it is what it is. It's not the grass. I'm sure it's not the best way to handle it, but that's how I've always handled it.
Yeah, it's how you played the cards that you had dealt. So, but I mean, I can go for like 20 more hours, but just want to give a little preview. Just want to give a little preview because, you know, a lot of people, you know, they always think you're a lot more quiet than I am.
Yeah.
But it's not that, you know, you don't have a story or you don't have, you know, character to the person that you are. But, you know, just for what we're trying to do now, I'll let you take it away. There's no outro for me. I'll let you take it away. Why don't you, you know, tell the people what we're trying to do with this? You know, tell the people what the plans are for you because of whatever, right? Whether it's your past, the childhood, whatever it is. We agreed to do this podcast 2 years ago, and we actually did it, and we're doing it, right? And I know my goal is not necessarily tied to monetary, even though I'm still waiting for that. You know, we're still waiting for that. But, you know, I think it's more of like, what impact are we going to leave, you know, behind? And I know you and I have talked about this plenty of times offline, but why don't you take the time to, you know, a couple seconds and tell our viewers what it is that you love about this that you want to do, you know, from Will's mindset and from where Will's at and from where Will's been through, you know, what you're trying to accomplish with this platform that we're creating. And take us away, man. Take us away for episode 7.
Yeah, I mean, just from the conversations that we've had, I mean, me personally, I just want this to turn out to something where it's people can go to for, like, we have our thing, you know, from adversity to prosperity, you know what I mean? Just through jokes and just real shit and real conversations and being authentic And I see other people doing it, so there's no reason why we can't. You know what I mean? Why not? So if we can make this something big and expand the shit out of it and just break into different avenues of it where we can create nonprofits, we can create a fucking clothing brand, we can create all of this shit that it's just like the prolific is like the fucking tree and then there's just branches all over the place. And obviously I want the bag too. You know, I'm never going to say I don't,
and
because I know what I can do with that bag, you know, and I know the lives I can change with that bag. So with that, you know, I know we have the potential. We've just been, you know, we've been bullshitting. We haven't really been executing the way we should be. And I'll be the first one to call that out. But the minute that we do, I know it's that.
Shout out to Cardi.
But
I love you.
Play Glorilla.
I love you.
But
see him, Coachella.
But with that said, man, I just I think we have something special, and it's not even remotely tapped into because of the amount of effort that we need to put in. We haven't been putting in, and you know, we're gonna have a talk this week, and I hope you're on board as I am. I hope our boy is on board as much as we are.
I don't know, man. He was talking about moving and shit, man. We gotta have a conversation with him.
I'm about to deport this nigga.
Take us away, man. Take us away.
That's it, man. I appreciate the conversation.
Always.
You know, the people that think that I'm not, you know, I'm quiet. I am very well reserved. You know, I'm an introvert, but I'm also extroverted. It depends on what situation I'm in. But, you know, fuck you if you think I'm, you know, any type of way.
Just putting it out there.
Yeah, I'm just putting it out there. But, you know, I'm a very deep person, you know, when you talk to me. And if I feel comfortable around you, then I'll talk. But I'm usually the quiet person in the room, just watching everybody and just listening.
Observant.
I love to do that. You know what I mean? I'm never going to be the loudest person in the room. But when you talk to me, you know, it's real. It's authentic. You'll never feel that I'm being fake with you or you know, what's his angle. You know, I'm always going to be a genuine person. And if you don't fuck with it, then that's cool too.
It's cool. But if you do, that's cool.
That's cool too. Salute to that.
So, all right. So salute, man. This is episode number 7, ladies and gentlemen.
Episode
we got the
number 7.
one-on-one with Ill Will, Big Willie. Check out his latest LP, Big Willie Style.
Chopper style, Big Willie style.
Oh, man. But we're going to do this a lot more often, guys. Again, we want you guys to really tap into the souls, the prolific souls, man. And we had Willie on that this week. We had me last week, and we're going to keep mixing it up because I feel like these conversations need to be had. And again, man, our goal is just to, you know, reach one, teach one. If you can come out with a little nugget out of this is all we really care for until we get the bag. Yeah. But yeah, man. Cheers.
Cheers to that. Like I said, if anything that you guys feel that you got some value out of the conversation, please let us know. Comment.
Yeah.
Let us know. Reach out to us. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. We're only trying to get better and, you know, serve you guys and entertain you, make you laugh, make you feel something, make you think about something, you know, maybe, you know, get some fucking ideas in your head, help you out. And yeah, that's about it.
Yes, sir. So as
Cheers.
always, man, like, subscribe. Make sure you guys follow us. Make sure you guys tap into our IG, our LinkedIn.
Our YouTube, our MySpace,
our YouTube right down below, man. But you guys already know the vibes, man. It's your boy Berto.
It's your boy Big Willie.
Prolific, baby. Episode number 7. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Peace.
Cause they thought I'd never make it. See me fall down and they celebrated. Learn how to win with no demonstration. How about the cool got a ventilated? Cause I can't see shit out on 95. Prolific little bitch, I see dollar signs.